Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of E.W. Jackson for America. Great to be with you again today. I want to let you know that last night I was at an event for Mark Earley Jr., who is running for the House of Delegates of Virginia in the 73rd District. If you're in Virginia, or even if you're not, and you're interested in trying to make sure that good, strong legislators fill the houses of legislature in states across the country, Virginia is a very, very important state. Support Mark Earley Jr. I have endorsed him, showed up at his event last night to support him, saw his father there. Mark Earley used to run Prison Fellowship, ran for governor, was Attorney General of Virginia. So he comes from really good, strong, a Christian family background. And I really like this young man, and I'm looking forward to great things from him. Mark Earley Jr., 73rd District, House of Delegates of Virginia. Please give him your prayers and give him your support. He really does deserve it. I think this is the kind of young man who could go on to do great things to help Virginia come back to its founding principles. The principles, by the way, which helped shape the founding of this nation through George Washington and James Madison and Patrick Henry and James Monroe and George Mason and, of course, who can forget Thomas Jefferson and so forth. So please pray for him and support him in whatever way you can. Had a great time at his event yesterday, and I'm really looking forward to great things, praying and trusting God that he will win, because right now Republicans, conservatives, and he is conservative, must take the House and the Senate in order to help bring the state back to some semblance of sanity. Because when the Democrats were in control, I mean, they just basically took a wrecking ball to our rights, our freedoms, our liberties. We're right now operating in Virginia under, I think it was 1 gun a month rule, where you can only buy 1 gun a month. So you go, maybe you want to shop, you got some extra money, you want to shop, buy 2 or 3 pistols. No, you can't do that. You can only buy 1 a month, because obviously they need to treat the law-abiding citizen like some kind of criminal who's a threat to us all. And I mean, that's just one of the many things. I mean, they're the ones who implemented this silly, that's a soft word, this evil policy of allowing teachers to keep from parents the sexual discussions they were having with their children under the prior administration. This is actually written into regulations. I think Governor Youngkin has corrected all of that, but this is the craziness you get when you get these leftist Democrats running things, because they really have a bizarre anti-God, anti-Christian, anti-family, anti-traditional values mentality, and they're basically on a path of destruction to try to overthrow everything that made this country the great nation that it is. And I don't need to go into that in any detail for you to understand that that's exactly what they are doing. And they've got to be stopped. I want to remind you, I hadn't shown you this. This is the George Washington Award for taking a stand. This is what we're going to give to our honorees at our Stand Awards dinner. And I love George. I can't wait to see him in heaven. I really want to talk to him. But at our Stand Awards dinner, we're going to be giving out the George Washington Award for taking a stand. And very substantial, nice piece. And that's going to go to Alveda King, to Michelle Bachmann, to Alan West, and to Andrew Womack. So if you have not yet signed up but bought a ticket to go to our Stand Awards dinner, I hope that you will. It is on Tuesday, May the 16th at 7 p.m. at the Tyson's Corner Marriott, And the tickets are $150. So please get a ticket, get 2. And if you're in a position where you can sponsor, you can go on our website. You see we have sponsorship starting at Patrick Henry going up to George Washington. Patrick Henry starts at $1,500. The George Washington sponsorship is $25,000. We've already got a George Washington sponsor. We're looking for as many as we can. This is the biggest fundraiser of the year, and we really do need your help. If you're not in a position to support us financially right now, with something like that, pray for us. And I really mean that sincerely, folks, because we know prayer is powerful. Prayer opens doors. Prayer gets things done. So, as I've often said, prayer will produce resources. Resources, financial resources, are no substitute for prayer. So, you can't do anything else. Please pray for us. And I mean that sincerely. Become part of our prayer team. You know, we have a prayer meeting every Friday at noon Eastern time. I haven't really mentioned this much. I should mention it more. But at 12 noon Eastern time, we have a Stand in Prayer for America meeting. And so it's on the phone. You can dial in and you can pray with us. Wow, you know, I really should have been mentioning this, shouldn't I? Forgive me. It's been going on now for several years. Go to our website, standamerica.us. You can do the same thing, of course, if you want to get tickets. Go to standamerica.us to get tickets. You can go to our website to find out about our Stand in Prayer for America meeting every Friday at 12 noon Eastern time. You get the call-in number for that. And so just wanted to let you know about those things. Now, last but certainly not least, my new book is out, Sweet Land of Liberty, Reflections of a Patriot Descended from Slaves. And this book is available wherever books are sold, but it is also available at a 15% discount at our publisher's website. That's faithfultext.com, faithfultext.com. Now, if you want to support Stand, staying true to America's national destiny, and you can't come to the dinner or you can't maybe, be a sponsor or anything like that, but you want to support, I'll send you a free signed and numbered copy of my book if you sign up to be a Patriot Partner for $25 a month or more, or a one-time annual gift of $300. I will send you a signed, numbered copy of my book. Okay? Now, you can become a Patriot Partner for any amount. You won't get the book free for any amount, but for $5, we'll still send you a free T-shirt. We'll send you a gift. But for $25, we will send you a free signed copy of my book, $25 a month, or a one-time annual gift of $300. Of course, it's an honor system. We hope you'll come back. If you do the $300, we hope you'll come back next year and do at least that again. So with that, and by the way, again, to sign up as a Patriot Partner, go to standamerica.us, and you'll see the donate page there. Just go to sign up as a Patriot Partner, $25 a month. You will go on the list, and we will send you a signed, numbered copy of the book. And whatever order they come in, that's the order in which they are going out. I've got the warehouse sending me more of my author stash now because, believe it or not, I thought I had plenty, and I actually ran out. So I'm sometimes up very early in the morning signing these books to make sure that gets done, because once my day starts, I don't really have time to do it. So, but we want to make sure that we honor your support for us and let you know how much we appreciate you. Okay? Let me talk today about something that is just, it continues to percolate in the news, but I want to say some things about it that I think need to be said that nobody else is saying. I saw on the news this morning some legislator, congressman, who's defending TikTok. Now, TikTok is nothing but a Trojan horse of communist China. Now, let me say that again. TikTok is a Trojan horse of communist China. Now, all of you know, of course, what a Trojan horse is, right? I mean, you know about, what was it? Was it Troy who sent the Trojan horse? I should know that history, but forgive me. But at any rate, you know the Trojan horse was sent. I'll get these facts straight. The most important thing, it was sent as a purported gift, but it had soldiers in it. And once they brought the gift inside the gate of the city, they opened it up and soldiers spilled out and took over the city. I think it was sent by Troy. I can't forget where they sent it to, but that's what TikTok is. TikTok is an infiltration into our culture. And just reading an article this morning about this, and let me tell you how serious this is, folks, because I want you to understand This is not a joke. This is not, oh, this is about money and this is about business and this. No, no. This is about destabilizing American culture. China, when they sent that Trojan horse, it was sent as a tool of war. The recipients of the gift thought it was a gift, but it was sent as a tool of war. It was sent to conquer the people to whom it was sent. TikTok is a tool of the Chinese Communist Party's war apparatus. Don't make any mistake about that. TikTok is a war part of the Chinese Communist Party's war machine. I'm sure, well, you know about Sun Tzu, The Art of War. I've read it a couple times. And you know that Sun Tzu argued that the best way to defeat an enemy was not to have to fight the enemy at all. You bring the enemy to a point where they really don't have any choice but to surrender. That's really the highest level of war strategy. You don't fight an enemy with their strengths and their power at its zenith. You weaken them. Now, that's not new to Sun Tzu, by the way. He may be the earliest person to make these kinds of arguments, but this is something that's been talked about by great generals and war strategists and warriors throughout the ages. Napoleon said that the moral in war, the moral is to the physical. I think he said it's 4-to-1. I think it was like 80% moral and only 20% physical. And that's been proved again and again, that the morale of a people, the internal cohesion of a people, has more to do with its ability to defeat an enemy than does the amount of munitions and weapons and even the number of troops that they have. Now, not that those things are irrelevant. I'm not arguing that. They're not irrelevant. Obviously, you need ammunition, you need munitions, you need to be able to wage war. But if you got all of that and you've got to demoralize people, you lose. And the Communist Party of China is trying to demoralize America from within. Now, I don't know who can't see that. I have only two alternatives, two explanations for people who can't see that. Number one, either you really are stupid. I mean, forgive me, folks. I'm not trying to be cute, and I'm not trying to be ugly about it. But either you really are stupid. And I'm talking about people who claim to be following current affairs and claim to be well-versed in the issues of the day. I'm not talking about the average citizen who is busy working and really is not following these kinds of stories. And I'm not talking about that person. I'm talking about some elite, some person in Congress, for example, who is going to lecture you and me about how we're xenophobic and racist and anti-Asian if we raise these kinds of issues. There's only two explanations. One is you really are stupid. I mean, just plain stupid. Or number two, you're a traitor. You are just a traitor to the United States of America. You are given a choice to side with your own country or with an enemy, and you side with the enemy. Now, the choice is really just that stark. And it's about time we laid it out that way, because we don't know where our conflict with China is going to lead. As you've heard me say many times, God knows I don't want to go to war with anybody. War is ugly, folks. It's hell. I was in the Marine Corps. I never saw combat. Thank God. And I thought I was going to Vietnam, but it just never happened. I joined in 1970. The war was ending. But I've met and talked to friends and others over the years who went through the horrors of war. And it's no joke. We can't romanticize it and pretend it's just some wonderful thing. It's not. But I would rather shed blood than give up my liberty. And that includes my own. And I mean that with all my heart. I would rather die on the battlefield than live on my knees. How many Americans do you think feel that way today? How many young people feel that way today? How many young people, given the choice between bowing their knee to the Communist Chinese Party and potentially losing their lives in a battle for their freedom, how many young people today do you think would say, well, what's wrong with Communist China? I don't know. There's never been a poll taken, but I'll tell you what, when you got people in Congress saying that you can't question TikTok and you can't question Communist China because if you do, you're racist and xenophobic and anti-Asian, that does not portend well. Excuse me, folks. That does not portend well. Now, here's what I wanted to bring up specifically. An article I read this morning said that if you sign up for TikTok, and this has been an experiment was done, if you sign up for TikTok as a 13-year-old, within a matter of minutes, you will get videos encouraging you to commit suicide if you are lonely, if you are depressed, if you are in despair over something. And they say a lot of kids at that age feel that they're not getting the attention of the opposite sex that they want to get. Who would have thought, right? Given the fact that they've confused kids so much about gender, who would have thought? But apparently a lot of kids are lonely, they're depressed because they feel they're not getting the kind of notice that they want to get from the opposite sex. And I don't know to what extent this is explicit, wanting to have sex explicitly. It wouldn't surprise me because these days we are sexualizing young people at such an early age. It wouldn't surprise me that by the age of 13 years old, kids feel unfulfilled if they're not having sex with somebody. I mean, Lord have mercy. But that's what we've come to. Communist China, the Chinese Communist Party, is using TikTok to sow a poison pill into our kids to encourage them to commit suicide. And folks, I'm not making it up. To encourage them to commit suicide, to deal with their problems of despair. Oh, here we go. Got the wrong file. To deal with their problems of despair. Yeah. Here we go. Here's an article in Breitbart. China's greatest weapon, TikTok, pushing suicide videos on 13-year-olds. This experiment was published by the corporate accountability group Echo. They pushed it out to Vice News. And what they found out was these things they call things, forgive me, but people, who they call incels, involuntary celibates. This is a canard now against kids who are not having sex. They're called incels. And apparently TikTok is reaching out to young men particularly who formed a bond around their lack of sexual success with women. This is this group, this corporate accountability group, Echo. So what they found is that when they signed up as 13-year-olds, let's see, created 9 new accounts and listed each person as a 13-year-old. Now, this was an experiment. And they found that after viewing just 10 videos having to do with incel, that videos popped up encouraging suicide, including one by Jake Gyllenhaal, who puts a rifle in his mouth saying, shoot me in the blanking face. Says the majority of commenters to these 9 people who were artificial, but these 9 people signed up, the majority of commenters were in support of suicide. One commenter said that he was going to commit suicide within the next 4 hours. And 10 minutes and a few clicks, they said, was all that was needed in order to be dragged into a rabbit hole encouraging suicide. They say that Jake Gyllenhaal clip, which is now deleted, had 440,000 likes, 2.1 million views, 7,200 comments, and 11,000 shares. See, the algorithm forces you into a spiral of depression, hopelessness, and self-harm. Now, that's what Communist China is doing to our kids. Now, let me tell you, folks, China is at war with us. It is not a hot war, thank God. We're not shooting at each other. But I tell you what, it's not really a cold war either. It's a warm war in which they're shooting with us but not with bullets, shooting at us but not with bullets. COVID, as far as I'm concerned, was an act of war. Now, we may never be able to prove categorically that China intentionally unleashed this thing on America to hurt us, but I think the evidence definitely points in that direction. Even if the thing escaped initially into China by accident, I think engineering people to come from Wuhan directly into the United States and unleashing it here was not accidental. And you better believe that the Chinese Communist Party studied and watched as Americans responded to the challenge of COVID to see what we would do with it. Those balloons that they floated over our territory and over our sensitive military installations, those were not an accident. They're gauging our response. They're gauging our level of readiness. And you better believe that fentanyl coming across our southern border, manufactured primarily in China, and by the way, you don't manufacture fentanyl in China without the Chinese Communist Party's permission. Because remember, China is a totalitarian state. Not like here where we have to find evidence and arrest people and put them on trial. You violate the Chinese Communist Party's edicts, their wishes, and you just disappear, perhaps never to be heard from again, because they kill you. There's no due process in China. And if there is such a thing, it's a sham. So therefore, if you're a gangster or you're a criminal in China, or you're producing fentanyl in China, either you're doing so with the approval of the Chinese Communist Party, or you won't last long. And they know it. Because they'll hunt you down and simply kill you. So all the fentanyl coming from China, it's coming from China because the government of China is sanctioning it. And it's killing close to 100,000 Americans a year. So you got TikTok encouraging our young people to commit suicide. You got fentanyl pouring across our southern border, manufactured by China. and you've got COVID that killed 1 million Americans and threw our society into a complete tailspin. Just brought us to an economic standstill while China sat back and watched. And then you've got these balloons. Excuse me, folks. Wow. I'm doing fine, but I'm sensitive to dust and pollen, that kind of thing. Then you've got these balloons. You've heard the expression, floating a trial balloon? Right. It's when somebody throws up an idea to see what the response is, how people react to it. Well, these were trial balloons to see how America would react, to see what we would do, because for all we know, they could put on one of these balloons an EMP, electromagnetic pulse, that could take out our entire electrical grid. Me floating high enough above the earth, going right to the center of the country, and boom. And this administration doesn't seem to really understand the gravity of what we're dealing with because, of course, Joe Biden has been bought by the Chinese. Yeah, I said it because it's just like that, folks. I mean, you're hearing now that we're getting, because the bank records are being released, that we're finding out millions of dollars transferred from communist Chinese-backed entities into the Biden accounts and then divided among Biden family members. Let me go back to what I said initially. There's only two explanations for this, and this includes the Bidens. Either you're stupid, and they're not that stupid. I don't think they're that intellectually bright, by the way. I don't think they're intellectually bright at all. I think Biden is really a bit of a dunce, to be very honest. I really do. And I think Hunter is as well. But they're cunning. I mean, that's in part why politics has been their bread and butter, because they don't have the talent, they don't have the ability, they don't have the wherewithal to do anything significant in life. Like a lot of people in politics, some of whom are there for ego gratification. They don't build anything, they don't create anything, they don't invent anything. They don't, I mean, they're just basically feeding from the government trough. Not all, I know that, and I'm not saying all. Some people are really there because they love this country and they want to serve. But it's clear the Democrats are there because they want power. And they want to feed from that trough, and they want to feed as many people as they can from that trough, because that's what builds their machine. And communist China is only too happy to help make the cows full. Spending money everywhere, including buying shares in Biden Enterprises. You get my point. Now look, we have got to get serious about this. You know, I thought about opening an account on TikTok. And my conscience just wouldn't let me do it. My thought was, man, but there are a lot of people I really want to reach, and if I can reach them on TikTok, I should do it. But my conscience wouldn't allow me to do it. Because I felt that ultimately I would be betraying my country for whatever practical purposes I thought were appropriate. I don't betray my country for anything. And that's why I landed on, no, I'm not going on TikTok. Now, maybe TikTok will be bought by an American company. Maybe we will get Chinese communists out of it completely. And then I'll certainly consider going on TikTok. No question. But right now, knowing that this thing is a Trojan horse sent to us by an enemy to undermine our stability, to kill our children, to damage our country, I'm not having any part of it. And I trust that the conservatives in Congress are going to lead the way toward either banning TikTok from the United States of America or seeing to it that it's sold to a truly American company. I'm not talking about something cute where some Americans become a front for communist China. I'm talking about we really do take it away from communist China because, and by the way, and we can go beyond that, the farmland, the businesses, anything communist China owns in America, they should be stripped of, period. But TikTok needs to go as a communist entity, as a Chinese communist entity, for the benefit of our children, for the stability of our society. And then we got to deal with these other things as well. And we just got to acknowledge and call people out who are traitors, because they're defending and protecting a mortal enemy of the United States of America. And by the way, let me just say as I close out, this is not anti-Asian. You know what? My heart goes out to the Asian people, the Chinese people. It really does, because they're living under a slave state. My heart goes out to the people of North Korea, because they're living under a slave state. And my heart goes out to the people of Vietnam, because they're living under a slave state. I don't hate them. As a Christian, I love them. I care about them. We got a lot, as I said, everybody focuses on the Uyghurs. Nobody focuses on the fact you've got Christians who are tortured and murdered and put in labor camps, and all kinds of terrible things are happening to Christians in China. Nobody seems to care about that. It's only the Uyghurs, and God bless the Uyghurs. I don't want the Uyghurs hurt or persecuted either. But let's not forget the Christians too. We've got to awaken to the truth of what we're dealing with here. A major threat from outside our country, buttressed by a major threat within our country, and people who would gladly ally themselves with our mortal enemy and betray our country. These are traitors. And it's about time we call them out for who they are and what they are. Maybe they'll awaken to what they're doing and repent and say, forgive me, I was wrong. In which case, we will gladly receive them into the fold as good, patriotic Americans. But not if you're going to side with and defend a brutal, totalitarian, murderous, dictatorial regime against your own country. That's not us labeling you, that's you labeling yourself. Well, God bless each and every one of you. I'm going to go. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and please keep us in your prayers, because obviously there is so much to be done. But I want you to know, I remain absolutely 1,000% convinced that we are going to win. We God-fearing, America-loving, decent Americans who simply want our country to do what is right and want to be on the right side of the issues, that we don't hate anybody, we're not out to get anybody, but we want our country to be that shining city on a hill that John Winthrop saw when he first landed on these shores. We're going to win. All we've got to do is just what the prophet Ahaziah, I think it was Ahaziah, told Jehoshaphat and the children of Israel when they faced the people of Ammon and Moab and Mount Seir. Told them, set yourselves, stand still, and see the salvation of the Lord. And really, what I'm doing is paraphrasing that when I say, stand up, step up, speak up, refuse to back up. Because we cannot be defeated if we will not quit. Because we are on God's side.